Tonight's guests on Set the Trend Live: Kejam, Majek, Taxman, Godfrey, Fletcher, Alvin Garrett, Anime Rose. And now, here come your hosts.
Hello, lads. Hello.
Good crack-a-lacking.
Good evening. Welcome to Set the Trend podcast. I'll do another welcome in a minute, I suppose, because as we wait for people to enter the room this evening. Hi, Prue. Hi. How are you doing? Good evening. EastEnder, Reggie Heavy Styles in the building. And Mr. EastEnder, who's not going to sit on the fence today. We've been having talks in the back room. And,
it's going to be a spicy one today.
A spicy one today because this is something that is, really dear to his heart. You know what I'm saying to you? So we can't wait for this one tonight.
It's an interesting one. My phone has been ringing all week with so many different versions of conversations. So it's going to be an interesting one.
And let's remember, we have tonight, we're going to mention them, these guys again, but we have Kejam from Soul Discoveries, DJ Taxman from Breaking Artists, and Godfrey Fletcher, CEO of Neo to Soul, on tonight. We're talking everything Neo Soul music, everything new music. We'll be talking everything to do with it, getting to the bottom of it. It's a bit like a rare groove slow jams argument, isn't it? Discussion, isn't it? Or is it?
Indeed, 100%. Of course. Soul music has been a bone of contention, and which we've discovered over the last year and a bit doing Set the Trend, and everybody's had a different views about what is classified as rare groove, what is classified as modern soul. We're now in the era of 2021, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see if there's any similarities.
And let's not forget, we have some live performances tonight. US artists, new to the game, but we're going to be speaking to us during the show tonight. Nez, Alvin Garrett, who's not new. In fact, none of these artists are kind of new to the game per se. And Anime Rose, we've got a pre-recorded session from her, but none of those artists that we're going to talk to tonight are anything but new to the game. They've been around for quite a while, haven't they?
Yep, indeed. And I think some of the performances are going to really impress you, the viewer, who's watching right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Alvin Garrett and Anime Rose and Anime Rose. Some of the songs you've heard, but you may not be able to put a name to it or a face to it. So today on Set the Trend, it's one of those days where we're going to introduce you to some new talent if you don't know about it.
Right. So if you just joined on Facebook, if you want to share the link for us, if you can, please. And if you've joined us on YouTube, please subscribe to the page. Even if you're on Facebook, can you go over to D-Max in the building? I wonder why.
Award-winning.
Yeah, we have some award winners in the building.
Undercover in the building.
Oh my
Good evening, sir.
So, what was I saying? I just went off track. Welcome to Set the Trend podcast. Set the Trend podcast is all about documenting street sounds, history, and the culture, and really looking at what legacy that we're going to be leaving for the up and coming young ones to take on with. And what we do, we have conversations week in, week out with people who have set the trend or are setting the trend to do with the culture. So today's no exception. And as we said, we have some connoisseurs in the building. But let's rewind back a little bit and let's talk about last week. DJ Elaine, the notorious and the fantastic, gorgeous DJ Elaine, formerly started off at LWR, and she went on to so much bigger things. And we had her in the building last week. Also, we had Nathan, cute guy, was in the building last week, and we also closed with Noel McCoy. So, Nathan, cute guy.
Yeah, legend.
But I think a lot of people was surprised at Nathan.
The fact that that he was a young white guy.
A young white guy with so much soul. You know what I mean?
And the voice behind all the adverts that we normally hear on our community and internet radio stations.
Yep, and we couldn't have done a lot of what we did without his input as well. You know what I mean? Because he sold a lot of the dances before people even got there. They went and bought their tickets prior to being in the dance, and he was part of the machine that helped to do that, along with other people who made voiceovers. But I think Nathan was probably the most successful.
Yeah, one of the prominent ones. Yeah, definitely.
So we talked to him. So that was a nice conversation that we had with him. If you haven't seen it, please go back to our YouTube page. It is there. All our lives are set in the archives on our YouTube page, which is Set the Trend Podcast. We also talked to, we talked with Noel McCoy.
And Fred. Can I just say, I've got the rights. Can I say it?
Yeah?
Right. You know me. You know me. I've got the rights. T-shirt dropping for this summer. Hot girls, get ready. You know me.
That market 10 years ago. I saw you. You know me.
Gee wee.
I think
Raymond, boy.
That was the first time that we've had our guest with a bit of brandy going down there. Yeah, I think the brandy truck was talking on that one.
Slap on the wrist. Saying that, we have the real Brandy Lee in the building this evening, and he will be talking, because what we want you to do also, he'll be his mum's memorial, Cherry Gross, will be unveiled tomorrow morning. So we're getting him in to talk a bit about that. So Brandy Lee will also be here. Sorry, Brandy. Sorry about that. But he will be here, and we'll be talking to him first before we talk to our connoisseurs in the building in about 8 minutes time. So we got a lot to get through. So that was Everybody Likes Raymond, and I'm sure he was he's a St. Elizabeth man. DJ Lane, EastEnder.
What can we say about DJ Lane? You know, amazing broadcaster. LWR. When I was like just growing up and listening to music, she was like one of the ones that caught my ears every morning on LWR. Fantastic broadcaster then and still is to this day. It was lovely to have her on the show. No doubt. Definitely.
Good. And if you want to go back and view it again, Set the Trend Podcast, YouTube. So look, we've got a few things to get through. Reggie, George Floyd verdict.
Yeah, great news. The officer who, or should I can't even call him an officer, the murderer who had his knee on his neck for 9 minutes, who has been found guilty on all charges. Now we're just waiting to see how long the sentence will be. Could face up to 40 years, they're saying. So, you know, that's been a fantastic week for us in regards to... Guilty. 3 times. Yeah. Slap. Good. Indeed. And it's just one step in the long road towards justice for a lot of the Black Americans and ethnic minorities in America to get some kind of recourse.
Maybe it's just the start of that. Maybe it's just the start.
Let's hope that, you know, a lot of those officers who like to go one step further than they should do take note of what will happen if, you know, you do the wrong thing.
We do hope so, but I think we've been along this path. We've trod this path before in many kind of disguises. So let's hope this is a start of something new. We've got to be positive. We've got to look forward to that. Last week we didn't, and we Black Rob died as we came on air. So we just wanted to have a little tribute towards Black Rob. Producers, are you in the building?
I had this bad chick uptown, she was had me messed up in the head, I mean. Bought the chick diamonds and pearls, I mean. Should have seen the ice shining on the wrist. I had this
club into an animal house, man, a zoo, one of those rooms, you know.
You don't hear that song without, you know, getting ready to do a little something.
Oh yeah, and you know, signed to Bad Boy Records. And what I think, I don't know what it is about April, over the years. Like April just seems to be the craziest year where everything happens. Like last year, everybody kind of like really went into proper lockdown in April. Prince died in April. There was, 5 years ago. And obviously this week was his thing. So big up to Black Rob and his family and friends, and shout to all the Bad Boy family as well. And I just hope there won't be any more. And obviously we heard the sad news about Shock G, Digital Underground. Passed away as well. Another hip hop legend. And
that's where Tupac started his trade. Really, everybody knew him from the Digital Underground. Yeah. So, rest in power. Rest in power. Also, another sad thing that we've got to talk about, but it serves to empower people every year. Stephen Lawrence Day, a day of change, a legacy day of change. Even that was on Thursday, I do believe, on the 22nd of April, National Stephen Lawrence Day. Yeah. And of course, he was killed just down the road from me in Eltham, and I remember that day because I got the news on the phone as it goes. Just a bit after, because I knew some people who knew of Stephen or knew Stephen, and that was a sad day. And every day they've been fighting for justice. And it's sad because I don't know if they'll ever see that within their lifetime, which is the sad thing about it. But we will keep on and must keep on fighting.
100. It's terrible, man. Terrible. I mean, every time Stephen Lawrence Day comes around, well done to Neville and Doreen for being so resilient and so persistent and keeping Stephen's name alive and giving inspiration. Well done to his brother as well. Can't imagine what it's like being a brother of somebody who has had such high profile coverage, I tell you what, there was a time my uncle used to have a studio in his house in Bermondsey. And every time Stephen Lawrence Day comes around, I always think, because a couple of me and my school friends, we went to the studio, which was in Bermondsey, left the studio about 11 o'clock, 11:30 on our way back, and we got chased by a whole load of Millwall fans screaming expletives and racist names and stuff. And, I always think to myself, whoa, we got away, but sadly Stephen didn't. So, rest in peace to Stephen. And, your name is definitely not been lost in vain. You're definitely somebody who's used as an inspiration for others. We just need to hopefully, like you said, try and get some justice, because not all of the perpetrators have been brought to justice.
And as you said, Neville and Doreen, keep on fighting. Justice will prevail eventually. It will.
Well, I do hope so. I would love to see it within our lifetime. That would be something that would be great, but we shall see. As the steps sometimes of justice, the wheels of justice are sometimes very, very slow. Anyway, so that was some of the things that we want to talk about. Before we even move on, there's something else that we want to talk about that is very close to our hearts, I think. Every one of us are football fans. Let's declare that. EastEnders and Reggie are Arsenal fans. I am a Liverpool FC fan. European Super League. And what?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I have to say, right? Billionaires love money. They sit down in a room and they say, how can we make more money? But as fans of a game that was a working class or so-called working classman's game, or the game of the working class, they say horse racing is the sport of kings, football the sport of the working class. To turn around and say, right, we're going to all get together and play in a league with no competition is bright-facedy and out of order, as Bounty Killer would say. An absolute liberty. And the owners should be ashamed. All the executives for every football club, or the owners, because apparently some of those executives didn't even know about this. And
hold on. The owners decided not to tell their employees what was happening.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Let's.
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. I mean, you know, you can't even compare it to when the Premier League broke off and created the Premier League, because at least there was some sense of competition there. There was something that you could, you know, say, right, okay, I can still play Man United as a small team. I can still play
Man United, a small team. You're gonna get it, mate.
No, as a small team, as in like if you were a small team, like, you know, a lot of us have been done in the FA Cup or various other cups, you know, by these teams. But you know, you're robbing that opportunity away from people. You're robbing that opportunity from a lot of the kids to be able to encourage and you know. And for me as an Arsenal fan, I want to win the Champions League before I go. So. I want Arsenal, so that can just done the argument with everybody, because we've done everything else.
Well, you won't be seeing it in your lifetime, mate. EastEnders.
I think Reggie said it all. I mean, billionaires want to look after their money. That's why they're in their world. But you know, power to the people, power to the fans.
Is that what you think? No, listen, it's funny. I think completely different to that. And I listened to John Barnes, and John Barnes, to me, gave the best description of what went on with the European Super League. And it's this: fans didn't win. Nobody won nothing apart from the people, the elite, who are controlling the business in the first place, which are Sky and BT. The fans ain't win nothing. The fans will not get no reduced ticket prices. The fans will not get a space on the board. Let me finish. No, let me finish. The fans will not get a reduced TV fee. They will not get Sky saying, well, you ain't big. And bearing in mind, Sky was the one that introduced pay-per-view this year in the pandemic. Working class people will never win this. And all they're doing is fighting on behalf of the elite. Because when the Premier League broke away in 1992, it was Sky that was at the forefront of that with elite teams. And John Barnes made a good point. All the other teams in Division 2, 3, and all like the lower leagues, they haven't really gained nothing out of it. And they weren't going to gain nothing out of this. So it's only the big footballers, the big ballers talking. So at the end of the day, you're
100% right. But that's the point I was going to say. The billionaires are looking after the billionaires. The fans wanted.
Sound like it.
Well, you didn't give me a chance. You just cut in there. That's right.
I did.
I did. You said, hang on, wait a minute. Is that what you think? I didn't get to finish.
No, but that was because I was talking.
No, but I was talking. Anyway, let's go on to the next.
Ding, 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 ding.
After he just said, yes, Reggie, I agree with you.
No.
Here we go. Sitting on the bench.
You didn't let me
You're going to
finish.
get splinters.
Stop.
Handbag.
He's going to get splinters. Yeah. And today's not a day that you can sit on the fence, EastEnders.
No, today's definitely not.
Today's not a day.
You didn't get to finish the point, but yeah, point taken.
So before we introduce next week, producers, have we got our guest who's up next week? Our next week guest. Have we got that flyer ready?
Right.
Here we go.
The real Duke of London.
The real Duke. All right. Are you saying
the Duke's dad?
My Daisy. Jerry Bascom, needaplacetogo.co.uk will be up in the building. The Soul of London radio as well. He will be up in the building next week, and we'll be talking to him about his journey and his contribution to the streets as well, because he's done a lot for street sounds as well throughout the years. So we'll be talking to him about that. I can't wait. Had fun with Jerry.
And that was a good coup. Well done to the producers for getting him on.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but I won't. Anyway, let's get into the show. So, ladies and gentlemen in the chat room, if you're on Facebook, if you can share the link for us. If you're on YouTube, you can share the link as well. Send it out to your friends and subscribe to the page. And we just want to get up our followers on that page. You'll get all the news and information of when we have any interviews with people from the community or the street sounds culture. And I've got some big interviews that are coming up. So, without further ado, Cherry Gross's memorial is finally getting unveiled tomorrow, and we have a very special person to come and talk about that. Brandy Lee, from After Dark. Where's he gone? He was there before, and now he's probably putting on makeup because old Lee. Yeah, Lee's always looking sharp. You know what I'm saying to you. You know what I'm saying to you. So, here he is.
Well, I'm champion.
Sharp like a razor.
What's up?
Welcome to Randy Lee. You lot may know him better as 1/4 of After Dark, alongside Roger Bailey, Christos, and the late Fox, Mr. Fox, should I say? Lee, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm cool, man. And you just said Fox. I've just got a big him up still. Miss him dearly. He was a massive part of the sound, and me and him had a friendship that went back years. So. Yeah, man, I've just got a big up Fox still.
So your mum's. So yeah, so your mum.
You mentioned about the whole street sound thing. Why did we call it the circuit? How did we get that name?
Oh no, maybe that's one thing that we can discuss when you guys come on Set the Trend. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So we do that on another day, yeah. So funny enough, as you say. A lot of people may know me on this platform as Brandy Lee, but in the last 10 years since my mum passed, I've been. So
can you just tell everybody, Lee? Lee. So can you put some context into who your mum was and why we reached this point? Because a lot of people may not actually know how important that your mum has been to Black people's struggle actually over the last nearly 40 years. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back in 1985, I was 11 years old at the time. My mum was shot by the police. So if you think about George Floyd today, that's what happened to my mum, but she was shot. And if we had a camera inside the room at the time, it would be a similar thing. So she was shot in front of us as her children and left paralyzed as a result of that shooting. There was an uprising in Brixton. It was the second wave of uprisings as a result of my mum shooting by the police. And 2 years after that incident, there was a criminal trial and the officer was acquitted. So no one was ever held accountable for what happened to my mum. And we had to just live with that injustice. So mum was disabled. She was confined to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. I became a young carer along with my siblings. And, the best part of 26 years was just spent with us trying to survive in that situation. There was no counseling, no therapy, no support. We just had to roll up our sleeves and get on with it, basically. And
how did you guys
until
also...
my mum passed in
Sorry, Lee. How did you guys also feel? Because when you said a situation happened, that was the beginning of the Brixton riots, and many say that was the cause of the start of the Brixton riots starting. Did that also lay heavy on you as well, as a family?
In terms of that response?
Yeah.
So initially, right, when that happened, we weren't really connecting the dots as children because we was in a little bubble and all we was worried about was, is mum going to survive this incident that we had witnessed, right? But then we got a sense that the community was outraged by what happened. They took to the streets and they were demanding to get answers around why this woman was shot in front of her children. And there was a sense of comfort in knowing that the community responded in a way that they felt our pain and were supporting us. But when I went back to school, for instance, I felt like the way I was treated by the teachers was if, you're the reason why the disturbance and disruption and the so-called riot happened. So you'd have some people who would look at you like you're the cause of the problem. Do you understand? Rather than having any kind of empathy for the fact that you're a victim of this. So a lot of that was was due to how it was depicted at the time as well, because the press was quite negative and biased. So everyone, as far as they were concerned, these were just angry black people, animals, looting, robbing, and all the rest of it. And the real reason of why people stood up in the first place was missed, right? So it allowed for those kind of more ignorant-minded people to see it in that negative way and not really connect with the real injustice here.
So when that happened to you at the time, how long has your fight been for actual justice, Lee? Because it didn't finish 2 years after the trial, did it? You know, there was still you were still trying to get that justice for your mum at that after that, wasn't it?
So in total, we're talking about 35. This year will be 36 years since my mum was shot, right? I would say after that trial, we was just surviving after that, and there was a sense of having to accept that there was no justice. However, for me, it didn't rest well, and I just had it in my head that, you know, one day maybe I would seek some revenge around what happened. Now, when my mum passed in 2011, ironically, that was the same year that Mark Duggan got shot, and we had those uprisings all around London and even outside of London. It sparked an inquest into my mum's death. So they linked her death to the original incident, which then meant that we could almost revisit what happened. So for the first time, we are now getting to understand why my mum was shot, what led up to that day, that incident happening, and there was an independent investigation that was done, but we never knew the outcome of that, and they didn't have to tell us back then. But because laws change and Freedom of Information Act and so on and so forth, we were able to access that report, which highlighted all the failures. And they were serious failings. I mean, just to give an example, the officer who shot my mum was drinking the night before and then was allowed to hold a gun the next day and lead the whole operation.
Wow.
That's just like one of many things that came up in that report.
Wow.
The next challenge that we had, though, was that we got denied legal aid. So therefore, we didn't have representation. And in the end, we had to put a petition together, and we ended up getting over 100,000 people to sign that, delivered that to 10 Downing Street. And it was a week later that they overturned that decision, and we got access to legal representation. So that was another big fight in the battle, another massive mountain that we was able to overcome. And that was a game changer, because it meant that we could have a fair inquest, and that the result of that inquest was that 12 jurors came back saying that, you know, it was multiple serious failures by the Metropolitan Police that caused not only my mum to be shot that day, but actually caused her death, which was a big thing for us, because we knew that intuitively, but the very first time that this was now made public. And that's where the public apology came in from the Metropolitan Police at the time.
So you've just described a series of failures by the institution, the British institution. Recently, they've had a report out saying that Britain is not well, not, I don't even know what conclusion they came to, because it's just a befuddle of hodgepodge of I think people's friends in high places having friends below, asking them to write a report for them, because that's how it come over. Do you think that we've moved? Should I say how far do you? Because I think there has been movement, but maybe I'll ask you, how far do you think we've moved from 1985 to now? And if you could measure it, if I said between 1, no movement, and 10, a lot of movement, where would you pitch, how far it's moved in terms of how the institution looks at Black people and responds to Black people's needs?
All right, so I'll break that up. In terms of the institution and maybe the culture and their mentality and their attitude towards us hasn't changed much. What has changed is anything that we forced to be changed. And I think it's important that we take ownership of that. So for just for instance, that report in the inquest, once upon a time, you wouldn't be able to get your hand on that pool. But now, if your loved one dies at the hands of the police or in prison, it's right. It's your given right for you to receive that independent investigation report. So, and that wouldn't be the case if we didn't fight for that. They didn't want us to have that. So it's important that whatever victories are small, that we gain, that we own it, we take strength from it. Don't allow them to say, well, look what we've done. No, look what you've been forced to do. Do you understand? So that's how I would measure it. They don't, in terms of their attitude, we're still dealing with the same issues, but we've got better ways of fighting against them now because of the things that have been done in the past that will kind of help us now to get better outcomes, which is why today we can talk about George Floyd and that verdict. If it wasn't for the battles, the many battles that were fought before, I don't think we would have got that verdict. You know, in these times.
So tomorrow is another step towards getting some kind of justice, not only for your mum, but for, I think, for the wider community as a whole. Can you tell us a bit about what's happening tomorrow morning and what the family will be doing?
Okay, so tomorrow morning we're unveiling a memorial dedicated to my mum and to the community who rose up for her around justice. Now, I always say we didn't receive, you know, your kind of traditional justice. Nobody went to prison. Nobody was punished or penalized for what happened to my mum. For us, it was about restorative justice, which is a different type of process. So the memorial exists as a result of restorative justice because what we want as a family is to make sure, number one, what happened is never forgotten. Number two, that lessons are learned. Number three, that not only that lessons are learned, that those lessons are applied. So the memorial will exist and it will be a living memorial because there will be an education program built around it. There's going to be some training for police officers that's going to be built around it to kind of spread the awareness about what happened to try and ensure that these things don't continue to happen in the future.
Wow.
Lee, how can people, I mean, self-distancing rules apply tomorrow. So how can people see the unveiling if they can't go? Is there a YouTube? Is there a Facebook Live? How can we be a part of it tomorrow?
So tomorrow, we're live streaming the event. You can go to the Cherry Gross Foundation, which is cherrygross.org, and Gross is spelled GROC.org, and you can watch it live. It starts at 11. It's a 1 hour ceremony basically. So it's from 11 to 12. We've been restricted to only 15 official guests. However, people can come down and witness it for themselves. So we've just been encouraging people, if you are going to come, please bear in mind social distancing rules and just, you know, try to apply. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we can't have big community celebration that we wanted to have and that this deserves to have. But we will do something in the near future. But for now, it's just really important to unveil the memorial in light of the fact as well that it's the 10-year memorial since my mum had passed. I mean, today, she passed on the 24th of April. Today is 10 years since my mum's passed, and so it was a key moment for us that have this unveiled at this moment.
Well, we've got you here, Lee. Can I just say thank you for a very powerful book, The Louder I Sing. Lots of people in the chat are saying it's a very powerful and strong book. Is it still available, and how can we get it for those who haven't had an opportunity to read it?
So it is available. Amazon, you can get it in audio version, hardback, paperback, and on Kindle. And most retailers have them as well. So your Waterstones or your WH Smiths. So, and the book really is, apart from one being a dedication to my mum and giving a voice to our story and allowing people to connect to it on the humanistic level as well, because my mum was always just known as this woman who was shot, and then no one ever knew about what happened after that. So the book is really about sharing the kind of impact and the aftermath of such a terrible injustice, but also, to the story. It's a story about hope and inspiration, because we got there. It may have taken us a very long time, but we got that acknowledgement from my mum in the end, and we got the truth out about what happened, and now it's a public record. No one can deny that. So yeah, it was important to share that with people, spread awareness, inspire, and try to bring about hope.
Okay, Lee, thanks very much. We're going to have to leave it there. Hope everything goes well with the memorial to tomorrow. Wish you all the best with that one. Hopefully at some other time, you'll come on with the lads after dark. You come on and talk about your journey being an old-time sound boy. Well, you're still a sound boy. You're still current. You know what I mean? And I know it's Roger Bailey doing like most of the work at the minute, but I know you do still come and lend a hand. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you'll be back about when social distancing rules go. And
I know it was a mistake that you forgot to mention Gary After Dark, but big up Gary After Dark as well. You forgot to.
Who? Both of us forgot to mention him, yeah? Both of us. Lee,
yes, big up,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, big up, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
and hope everything goes well.
Yeah.
Cool.
No worries.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. All the best.
Yeah.
Cool.
Respect, guys. Yeah. All right then.
Right. So we've still got a show to go on with. Yeah, we have to do them moments. I think them moments are moments that should be spoken about in our community. It's not always about music. It's not always about having fun. Even though the majority of the time it does seem like it is, especially for us lads. Right, so let's get on with it. Neo soul music, new music. What is it? We're going to talk about the rise and fall and the rise again of soul music. We have some esteemed guests, not only in the chat room, because I see the chat room's got a lot of
I see Cookie in there.
There is a lot of urban influencers in that chat room, and I'm sure they're going to get stuck in tonight. We have award winners in that chat room as well. But before we get stuck into it, let's introduce our guest panel tonight to talk about everything neo soul and new soul music, soul artists. We've got a load of questions for them that we're going to talk about. Charts, who should be in the charts, whether artists should like release music on their own website or another site. We're going to be talking about a whole lot today. And our guests when we talk about the top, these guys are at the top of promoting British soul music to Britain as a whole, to the UK as a whole, and they're doing their thing mostly out of love. I'm not sure how much they get paid, if anything. They just want to see good music put out there and it played by DJs. So that's probably another thing that we're going to be discussing as well. So let's welcome to the stage someone who I've known for quite a long time, Kejam, or someone I know as Decent, but
yeah, back on Set the Trend again. He was with us last year.
Yeah, he's back on Set the Trend. So let's bring him on live, or have I got to do my own work on here today? Is any producers working? Or Hi, Kejam. How are you, sir?
Hi Ray, how you doing? Hi Reggie, how you doing? Hi Michael, how you doing?
Hey, there's you're right.
All good. Nice to have you here, sir.
All good.
Good.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
good to
stay
be
right there.
with you.
Good. So you stay right there. Can I have Taxman, who's old-time sound boy, and he's in the building as well, is he? There you are. How are you, Taxman?
Taxman in the building. Wake up.
What? Tap. Taxman, can you hear us? Or are you sleeping? Is he sleeping? Has he got to sleep? Have we been that boring? I don't know if he's sleeping there or if he's just trying to get something. Producers, if you take him out and then give him a call and just make sure that he's okay there.
Refresh the page.
I don't know what's going on there. And can we bring to the stage another? You see, when we talk about UK, we're not talking about London-centric. We're talking about a gentleman who's been in the game a very long time, and he's up in the Midlands, and he's a well-renowned influencer. Can we bring to the stage Godfrey Fletcher, please? Godfrey, how are you, sir? You're
unmute, mate.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself. What is going on? These are all DJs.
Here you go, Godfrey.
I didn't mute myself.
Welcome to Set the Trend. Welcome to Set the Trend, Godfrey. How are you, sir? You okay?
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man.
It's good. I'm right. So let's get. Where's we had? I don't know where he's gone. Taxman was there, and now he's gone. I don't know. We'll get him back up as soon as he comes on. So welcome to Set the Trend, guys. We're going to talk about neo soul music, and everything neo soul and soul music today. First, though, Kejam, can you describe yourself in a minute and tell the audience what your company's about and what you do?
Yep. My company is on UK rotation, and we create content. So the idea is that due to the changes of technology, like for example, since the 70s, technology has changed. The way of promoting people has changed. And so the focus has shifted now to the independent artists or the artists themselves. So therefore, I've done all aspects. So I've made records, I've produced records, I first did Cameo in 1976. I was the first one to break Cameo, by the way, as a promotion. It's serious in front of 2,000 people at Global Village. So not a lot of people know that. And so I've also done artist promotion and also set up an infrastructure, which is an important thing, that everyone has to have an infrastructure. If you don't have an infrastructure, you can't really do this music. So now what I do is I also do consultancy, I do licensing, I place artists with on licensing deals. I also place DJs on radio stations in America. So I do a lot of things. I write contracts. I saw Elaine last week. I write contracts. I also solve contractual issues for people. I do accounting. I do royalty accounting. So I do plus create content. So I do everything. And also
the Amazon of music.
In a minute, and you're rolling.
You hold that there, decent. You hold that there. I think we've kind of got the overview of what you do. Thanks a lot for that. Godfrey, can you tell us about your company and what you do as well?
So my company's called Neo to Soul, meaning new energy open to your soul. That means bringing new energy back into the soul music. And basically, how it came about was me working from the back door entrance, because that means I work with the mainstream, and my company is more about bridging the gap between the mainstreams and the independent artists. Mm-hmm. So what I do, I work with a lot of young people. So because I'm a mentor, I do a lot of artist development, and I do a lot of youth work. So mainly what I was doing, I find artists who want to share their purpose. So and most of it, I connect it. I ask them, I say, what do you want to do? Do you want to work with young kids? So mainly what I do I used to bring them over from America, from all different countries and all them, bring them to work with like the YMCA, all the different types of things. So it's kind of more about education side. It's more about all that different kind of things. And also part of it, I'm using music as a tool. So sometimes people say it's about the music industry, but it's the business of music. You've got to understand what music's about, what it can do, what it can change. And that's where we're here to make a change, because I've been waiting so long. My parents have been waiting for the change, to keep saying the change is coming. It's like saying, I'm not going to wait that long, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try to be the change, you know what I mean?
Cool. And you're based up in the Midlands as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm based in the Midlands, and it's kind of like, I come from a background where my mum always used to say, you always keep asking why. So I always used to, when they used to say you have to move down to London to get into the industry, I was like, why? Why should I? I have to find a way around where I don't need to move down to London. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing most of the time.
Thank you, Godfrey. I think we've got Taxman back in the building. Can we get Taxman up? I think he's here. I think he's awake now.
Tax, you with us?
Hello? I'm there. I can't see ya. I think my screen keeps freezing.
No.
Okay. Well, we can see you, but we can't. Well, we can see you, but you're just a bit intermittent at the moment. You there?
Sorry?
Yeah, you do.
Can you see us?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. Good. So, welcome, Taxman. Taxman, do you want to describe in 45 seconds about you, about your company, and about what you do in terms of neo soul and soul music?
Basically, Breaking Artists were one of the first independent, true 100% independent soul top 20 charts, weekly charts. It started about 15 years ago. Always looking for new independent artists and their music, and tried to put a platform for them to perform. That's it in a nutshell, really.
Thank you. Right, so I'm going to be the main moderator today. I'm going to try and keep everything on time. We've got 2 live acts up that will be inserted into the show along the way for our listeners to hear today, and we have 1 pre-recorded artist on the show today. So my first question to Kejam, and can we keep the answers quite short, please, because we've got a lot to get through, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Yes, yes you can. Yes.
What is your definition of independent neo soul music? Well, that might be 2 questions in one. I'm not sure.
They're two different things. It's first thing is that it's all, for me as an independent artist, an independent label. It's all, everything is all about. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Everything is all about being independent, and that is taking ownership of everything. So that's taking ownership of your masters, taking ownership of how you promote yourself, taking ownership of how you, what you're all about and what is your end game. So for me, being independent, or this independent soul thing, it's about being independent. Being neo soul is totally different. It's just a label that people have given, because we give music labels. For example, Kejam in 1998, 99 coined this thing called neo soul, because he wanted something as a brand to sell to people. So it's like all the corporates do, that they all create names to sell things. So it's up to the artist now to actually sell what they believe their music is.
Fine, thank you. Godfrey, what do you class as neo soul or soul or independent music?
Similar to what Kejam's saying, for me, like neo soul is like it was like an era for people, so it kind of changes as it goes along. So even now, if you look at neo soul music now, it's the younger generations. A lot of the younger generations, like
Shut that.
Alan May, all them, and Lucky Day, and all them. They're the new ones. What they're claiming that they're the new upcoming neo soul. It's just another name. We're just trying to bring it back to date now. Me, I focus on more of the independent soul. Independence is more about keeping it. It's the artist what decides what kind of style of music it is now. We've got alternative soul, different kind of soul. So it's kind of like we independent artists should have the right to say what their own songs are, what type of music they are. You know what I mean? Because most of the music reaches out different ways, so you got to know what it's all about now.
So
we're in control.
So Taxman, do you agree with that? I mean, is it just labels? And I think we get carried away. Not you guys, but we the DJs, we the people who buy the music get carried away with labels.
If you think about it, independent music's been there for years. It's been there from when we were. If you think back in the day when we were all chasing we were all working for the record labels. We were all working on the street teams. Independent music was still there. It just wasn't a fad. I think it's a current fad at the moment. So we always try to pigeonhole something. Just like for the very reason why a lot of artists that were signed got dropped, because the record labels tried to pigeonhole their music. If it didn't fit in with what they were trying to do, they got dropped. So I think what Kejam said, what Godfrey says, it all kind of flows into the same kind of thing. We do try to pigeonhole music, and that's why there's independent soul, there's neo soul, there's new soul, there's new jazz. It's all a slant of R&B, just the current trend that we liking at the moment.
Cool. So I've looked at all your charts, the 3 charts there. I often go to the charts to see what kind of music is happening and go to iTunes and listen it, or YouTube, and see if it fits in with what I want to do. What I have noticed is that I haven't seen a lot of UK artists in those charts. Is there a reason for that, Godfrey?
Well, you have to research, because mostly if you look at my charts, I don't do charts. I do a podcast. So my playlist is more about people who I've connected with. So most of the UK artists, if you really want to find them, they're all on Instagram. And you don't see them on Facebook. Most of them don't work that way, because the way they work, they don't really want to get on radio. So most of them, it's not radio. They're more about partnerships and collaborations, and because they know more. So it's kind of like more than what the older generation knows now. You know what I mean? They know more because it's their platform now. So I play a lot of UK artists, but it's down to the people to research, and a lot of people do not do their research. You know what I mean, on the artists, because there's so much artist out there. There's so much, and you have to narrow it down. You have to go out there and do your research, because if you go on most of these blogs, it actually tells you, certain blogs tell you these are the top 25 UK artists. Look out for them, and you're just gonna have to follow them. And that's the thing about it. A lot of people doesn't want to put in the work, if you know what I mean. That's how I look at it.
All right, Godfrey. So Tax, why is there not so much UK artists on your chart?
There's always UK artists in my chart. There isn't at the last couple of weeks. Why is there not? Is it down to sales? Is it the sales not as as big as the other artists around the world. Certainly at the moment, I think there are a couple that maybe are in the show that I do, but not in the chart because the sales haven't quite got to the part where they've got into the chart. And I'll use an example, Kejam Terrell, that we all know Kejam Terrell, really good up and coming young Londoner. Maybe the sales just haven't got to that stage yet. But his current single is very good.
Okay.
But historically, I love to put UK talent in there.
Okay. So, Kejam, can you tell me how you would organize your chart? How would an artist get numbers? How do you compile your chart? What do you use? What mechanisms do you use to chart somebody into your chart?
Kejam has to unmute, by the way.
Oh, I think someone's
He's I got.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, D. That's cool. Yeah.
I don't have a chart. No, you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a chart. This is the myth. I do not have a chart. The urban influencers, my partners, have a chart. I do not have a chart. What I do is I've got 60 to 70 plus DJs because for a sample size, and I get each day, like yesterday, supplies me with 5 picks. Reggie knows about this. You know how they used to do it back in. I show a snapshot. So what I do is I churn this all through my database and I produce what I call my play choices. So it's the 20 most selected by given by 60 something plus. So I also do. Can you hear me?
Sorry, we kind of like missed you slightly.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think I think we're having a bit of problem with your broadband there, D. Godfrey, so your podcast, how do you select your music? How do you compile your charts or your podcast? But one sec, D. I think we're just having a bit of problem with your Wi-Fi. I'm just asking Godfrey the same question.
I think I've lost you.
Okay. All right. So with me, what it is, I build relationships because the industry is a relationship game. You've got to put the work in. You've got to build with artists. And that's what I do. So I'm not like a PR. I don't work as a PR. I don't work as a selective of things. I work with I want to be part of their team. You know what I mean? So I work with them and I speak to them before I put them in my podcast. We sit down. Where do you want it? I ask them where they want it to go. I tell them how many plays I get, where the best places to go. So I present myself to them first, if you know what I mean. More than
so you're kind of like an advisor, so to speak. And you do a lot more than just playing the music. You also give them an additional bit of help of how to broaden their music platforms as well.
Yeah, because basically I come from an education. So everything I do out there is a project. So it's kind of like, because with a project, you've got to have everything. You've got to have your aims and objectives and outcomes and specific aims and all them kind of things. So it's kind of like when I work with them and I get the podcast together, it's more like finding all these artists and putting them all together because I want them to work together. I want them to find each other. So that's why I will call it the female takeover. You know what I mean? So
indeed,
they're all female.
And how often do you do a podcast, Godfrey?
Recently, I see. It's not the quantity for me. It's the quality, because I can do a podcast. Don't do it for 3 months. People are still downloading and still coming back to me. You can see it. You can see the download. You can see people. And and because I look at I can see the back end of it. I can see what countries it's coming from, when it's downloading, all that kind of thing, and people share it for me. That's what it's all about.
So what would you say? Once a month, once every 2 months?
I say once a month, or because I'm not on the radio, because I know I think I can work better with a podcast because it reaches more, and I get a better connection with podcasts because a lot of people want a podcast, they want to download because it's changed. Like I said, the format's changed now. Radio is great, it's brilliant, it's kind of, yeah, you can find things, but it's like you've got to move with the times, you know what I mean? You've got to move with the times, and I think podcasts is the next generation, you know what I mean?
So
yeah.
So Taxman, what would be the benefits of someone being included in your charts per se?
Benefit?
As an artist?
Okay. The benefit is obviously if it's an artist that people don't know about or haven't heard about before, it gets that artist's music played. I do find that we can be a little bit like sheep. We do follow. If you hear one person plays a tune, other people tend to follow, as long as the record's good. Mm-hmm. So the benefit is, if it's good, it gets in there. If it's maybe not so good, it doesn't. Other than that, I don't really what else I can say.
Well, that's fine.
I mean, you know, on the sheep argument, can I just say?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that some people are influencers and that's a good thing?
So for example, we've got some artists that are going to perform tonight. I'd never heard of Aname Rose before Godfrey told me about her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I stumbled across Ness. We've all stumbled across this, like discovering a new artist and liking what you hear and thinking, well, let me share this with others to see if they like it. But in the first, so normally what happens, I'll find a track. If it's doing okay, if I like it, it's doing okay. It won't go in the charts straight away because there's no sales, but I'll play it on the part before the chart or the part after the chart so people hear it. Based upon the sales from there on, that's what gets them into the charts. But there's nothing like discovering a new artist. Certainly someone like in South Africa, someone like there's a guy in Denmark called Jonas at the moment. There's so many different artists in the States. There's so many different artists in all the European countries that are making the same type of music. So you discover something. So the benefit of being in the chart is obviously that the music's being sold, but the benefit of being in the show, if it's a new artist, is getting a platform for that artist.
Okay,
and that's what we try to do.
And on that point, we have a pre-record from Anime Rose, which Godfrey introduced us to. We're going to play a song by this new artist. Godfrey, do you just want to give us a bit of background about Miss Anime, please?
Well, Anime Rose, I was working with my friend from France. He's a producer called Venus. So he introduced me to her, I think it was about last year. And he was saying, this is going to be an artist where I think you will work well with her. So basically what it is, I listened to her music, got introduced to her, and from there I kind of like listened to her story and I listened to her music, and it's kind of like I brought into her, you know, because that's what it is. Artists, you know, I was into her, and really she's a fresh new artist coming through.
Okay, like so Godfrey, let's get her in. Reggie, do you want to give the intro, please?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome here on our Independent Soul discussion, the new name that you got to get to know. These are fresh, hot to death. Please give it up for Anime Rose.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You like to love, go like the sky, so do I, you pretty thing. I follow the sun, the moon and stars, you align, that's everything. Waves with your words, wrap me up around your fingertips. Waves with your mind, bury me deep inside your soul. I got a good feeling about you. I got a good feeling about you. You listen to the universe, look at the signs, so do I. What do you think? I move with the water, the wind and trees. Baby, please say you in love. Waves with your words, wrap me up around your heart, love. Sneaking to your finger. Waves with your mind, bury me deep inside your soul, baby. I got a good feeling about you. I got a good feeling about you. It's a natural connection. There's nothing that I can do. Can't climb my way out to this one. I am just so attracted to you. I pull hard, blow with the light at a million times. I'm not ready, knowing I'm really this far with you. Thinking the stillness within that I found my forever. Thinking myself that I gave myself a chance to have my forever. He's my forever. When he moves, I move. I'm the only one who had to prove to me I'm worthy. I got a good feeling about you. I got a feeling, I got a good feeling about.
Woo! Woo! All the way from Los Angeles.
My
Anime
kind of jam.
Rose.
My kind of jam. That was definitely my kind of jam.
She's got a
Good
nice
choice, Godfrey. Good choice, man.
She's got a nice, beautiful tone. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I like that one.
Right. Somebody is listening back on another device. I can hear it echoing. So if you are listening back on another device, please turn it down.
Turn it down. Yes, please.
Yeah.
What do you think about that track, D? Is he there? Can he hear us?
D. Kejam.
I love her. I love her. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
I
good.
can hear you.
Oh, that's good. So you're back
Can
with
you
us.
hear me?
Great stuff. Yes, we can.
She also won Best Newcomer at the Groundbreaking Blackout Awards 2020.
That's
So
not bad, is it?
she's coming a long way. Well done, Godfrey, on that one.
What was that? Do you think? I mean, I know this is an age-old question, but do you think you get enough support from DJs playing new tunes? Kejam?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think I do, because I've built relationships over the last 30 years with all the DJs. So it's from somebody like me who's built a lot of relationships for the last 30 years. I don't have any problems with getting my music played.
Without telling your trade secrets, how did you build that relationship?
Because I looked in the future and saw a crystal ball, and I said to myself, that I know what it takes. You have to build a relationship. Godfrey talks about this a lot. When we talk about influencers, Godfrey's my influencer, and he talks about he talks about this a lot. He talks about relationships. I've built 30 years worth of relationships with DJs.
Okay, what's that?
Right, somebody's got is Taxman. Have you got something playing in the background?
Sorry?
Has anybody got?
If you've got another, computer or whatever on, can you just turn it off? If you got something else, because it's feedbacking, so we can hear it.
Or mute it, yeah.
Or just mute it. Taxman, do you have any problem with DJs playing new tunes, or do you think that we support tunes enough? Or do you think that we're on the board when it comes to new tunes?
There's two things, yeah. It's playing it on the radio, but music being played on the radio, which is one thing, and then music transcending from the radio into dances and clubs. And not everything that goes on the radio can. I think you do. It's sometimes later. It depends on the quality of the tune. Sometimes it's later than sooner. But it's the caliber of the event. If you've got a dance or an event that's just traditionally reggae soul, bit of rare grooves, maybe a little bit of independent soul, it's very difficult for it to move that quickly. Maybe something like the house blues or the house parties will, in the early hours, that's when it might get played, just like it would have been back in the old warehouse party kind of days. So it's slow but sure. But I think maybe there's not the events, the structured events, like I think there was Soul for Real, there was Soul Sanctuary, that were predominantly for independent and neo souls. You know.
Yeah, but shouldn't it be played?
No longer with us.
But Taxman, isn't that what the blues dancers have been doing? Certain of the street sounds have been playing new music and still do it. So haven't they been doing it anyway?
It's always been done. But what I'm saying is, across the boards. I mean, all right. For example, you'd have an event like I'll say Soul for Real, and people go to hear what they've heard on the radio, maybe on the neo and independent soul front, and then not hear that music because the DJs that are there want to play for each other, maybe not for the crowd, because everyone's trying to play new music, sometimes rather than music that the people who are getting to know the music know. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, but wasn't it back in the day in clubs? People used to go to clubs and hear new music. They went to hear that new music, and isn't that what's been lost? Is especially nowadays, that seems to me what's been lost. Like, I mean, I'm a DJ who's quite off the cuff. I will fit in a new record if I can, and do that type of stuff. But it will be interesting to know, because on our first ever Set the Trend we had a top 100 list, and it'll be interesting to know people listening. If you're at home right now listening, if you're in the chat, please put in there and let us know, you know, are you open for hearing maybe 60% or 70%? How much of the night would you be open for hearing new music when you go out clubbing? It'll be interesting to know what percentage of the night you'd like to hear new kind of like soul artists. So for instance, if we dropped Anime Rose, how many Anime Rose type tracks would you be up for hearing in a night? So if you're in the chat, please let us know.
I mean, Godfrey, what is the scene like in Birmingham, Wolverhampton, for club nights for neo soul? Is there many?
No, well, this is where the problem is, because I'm going to tell you there's a problem.
There's a problem.
Yes.
We're here to do.
We're here to do solutions. We're here to do solutions, Godfrey. So
this is what it is. It's always been like I'm stuck in the middle. So you got Manchester and you got London, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the soul crowds. I was talking to Reggie about it on the phone. You have to play different music and in the Midlands or anything to do up north, anything outside London.
Mm-hmm.
And we play different types of music. We can play new music. We can play pure new music all night, every night. Don't have to play no you know, like commercial music. They've got a lot of soul things up in the Midlands, well they did, and they've got a lot of up in Manchester, in Liverpool, Leeds, up north. We break a lot of songs up north.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We break a lot of songs. With London, it's kind of like what I found is it was played by certain DJs. It was played by certain DJs. You had to go through DJs to get songs. So you never got the song.
Go through.
You have to wait.
When you say certain DJs, make it clearer. I mean, without calling any names.
I'm not talking about
calling any names or anything like that.
No, in my days, what changed is the format. Okay, because back in the day, it's vinyl. You had to go to London to get all the new songs. Okay, so they didn't reach England. They didn't reach Midlands. You'd always go to the import guy, and it'd be London. So I used to go to the record shops. So I never used to get the songs because it was already selected for certain DJs. Okay, so what I did. I'm not going to get the song. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to travel. So I went to America. So I started to find about independent artists
from America
way before.
Yeah, but how do you get DJs involved that
because
you think are not involved? I mean, there's a thing going that there's a lot of DJs that play music exclusively. So when you play music exclusively, I think it's only, it's a quite new thing of a lot of DJs mentioning the actual tracks that they're playing, because some of the tracks you don't know what they're playing. So if other DJs can't get the tunes, if Joe Blogs can't get to even download or find a tune, is it any wonder that some DJs, it's not maybe as broad as it's expected to be? Godfrey down in London, especially? No,
because basically what it is, the problem is, I'll keep saying the problem, and we're here to do the solutions. The problem is it's kind of like a lot of I will say it because I ain't got nothing to lose.
Tell him why you're bad, man.
Yeah, no, because a lot of people don't move with the times. The times have moved, and a lot of the DJs are stuck into the times. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we've got to work together. Because I work with artists. I'm not talking from the DJ's point of view.
All right, so Godfrey, somebody's put in the chat saying that because you don't come from London, you don't come from the London independent scene. You're apparently more aligned with the modern scene, and there's a big difference. It might
No.
have.
No.
So I can I just say to the person Dominic Joseph, as somebody who's played around the country quite a lot, I can testify that the music that I've played in Manchester, in Birmingham, and in Nottingham, I've managed to get away with playing much better, newer records than I have in a lot of London dances. So I don't think there's a difference there. I think there is a lot of there's a lot more scope outside the M25, and soul definitely reaches more than outside the M25 as well. So just to let you know there, Dominic, soul is UK wide.
From a DJ perspective.
Oh, sorry.
You're the guest.
I was just going to add to what Godfrey said. The thing is, back in the day before some of you were born, right? Because I've been here since 1970 something. You go into a shop, you go into Contempos or anything, and you'd buy all these records, and the same records that you bought the same day, all the DJs played on the weekend. They were all playing it. And the sad thing is that some of those DJs are still around today and won't play new songs, but they used to do when they were younger. You know,
go on.
And go on, you go.
What I wanted to say was that, as from a DJ perspective, isn't the aim to entertain the crowd? And when we start pigeonholing we got neo soul, we got this soul, isn't it just better to say it's a soulful night and you just embrace all of that music together in one night?
Yeah, I agree. But that's what we used to do back in the day. Back in the day, I used to DJ too, unknown to you guys, but I used to do all the house parties in South London, Ray. And I used to play soca, reggae, R&B. You know, we used to play all the genres of music. Mm-hmm. You know, we used to play all the genres of music, but what's been lost is people have gone down the lane is I just simply play hip hop. I just simply play neo soul. I just simply play reggae. I simply play rare groove. That's this, and this is what the division of it. It's not anymore. This is just music.
So we're just talking about playing out, because from a radio perspective, from an online platform perspective, I think
it's totally
I haven't heard so much new tunes in the last year than I think I've heard for a long time. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, Context, man.
He's on mute for some reason. I don't know you mute him.
Can I say something?
Of course you can, yeah.
Right. I'm not coming from the side of a DJ. I'm coming from the independent artists, because at the end of the day, I represent them, okay? And I represent DJs, I represent the independent artists. Because I've traveled around the world. I've been to Sweden, because what I do, I'll find the artist and I'll go over to there and travel to see how they live, to see how it works and see how it is. So I think your producer's Knee Deep. You know Knee Deep?
Yeah, very well.
Plus Knee Deep, what we used to do, we used to go to America and go over there, and we found thousands of independent artists, thousands in 2007, 8, 9. I used to sit on a panel over there called the International Soul Summit. I was introduced in it by Mike Ashley. Have you heard of Mike Ashley?
Mike Ashley in Bristol, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Bristol. Yeah. So he introduced us. Well, he introduced me because he's been doing it probably 5 years before that. So he's been doing it since when we was into swing beat. He was into independent artists from then. So at the end of the day, he introduced me to go over to America, and there's thousands of independent artists in America. Thousands. You know what I mean? And when I was on the panel there, most of them heard about the UK. they all wanted to come to the UK because they wasn't getting their music played in America. So between me, between me, go on.
So the UK, and that was probably my next question. It seems to be very important for the independent artists in the US, maybe more so than their own their own space in the US. Why is that?
Because in America they got payola, okay? So that's one of the countries out of all the countries still got payola. So you have to pay the DJs to play the song.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay the DJ.
So, would you agree with that?
Yes, I totally agree with Godfrey, and they have a payola system and everything. Because when I tried to go over there with my Kejam project, I found a way through the back door because I went through the steppers route. And the steppers route is like the second tier down, like the second tier down. So I went through the steppers route. So I was able to get on. It's the same way as we used to have over here. That, for example, you had a specialist show on a national radio, like it was Galaxy, Kiss, or. But that's the same type of thing with the steppers market. It's exactly the same route. So they have specialist shows on some of the top, Cyrus, iHeartRadio, and so I was able to get on through there. But otherwise, as Godfrey says, there is the gate. It's like you need to have the keys to go through the door, and the keys is that you have to pay for something.
So, Taxman, would you agree with that? Is that something? Is that a barrier? That you think?
If you ask any of the artists that I've spoken to, they might be in a particular city, and the biggest radio station in that city is not playing their music. Ida Divine, for example. Ida Divine didn't get picked. No New York station was playing her music until earlier on this year. Someone started playing their XFM in New York started playing her music, but thought she was UK, and she was on their doorstep. So the payola system exists, and I think why the independent artists gravitate more towards the UK, because we've got much wider air. We like the soul feel that maybe the US stations don't like. If you'll go over there and you'll hear the same 20 songs played each hour, show after show after show. Well, I think in the UK we're a bit more receptive to different sounds, different styles.
We talk about the big radio stations in America, but the big stations in the UK, are they playing those songs over here? Isn't some of the credit that we should really give our street sound community and DJs a big pat on the back, because we play a lot of these songs where even our major radio stations in the UK don't play it.
Of course.
I think we don't celebrate that enough or champion that the work that our culture does. I think we don't celebrate that.
I'll give you an example though. You're exactly right. And we had a conversation the other day. I'm going to give you Juanita Daly, Love Hurts. It was released in 1998. But we persevered with that tune. People who bought it in 1998 persevered with that tune until 10, 15 years later, it got recognition.
Wow. Yeah.
And recognition by the street sounds, and the street sounds.
By street sounds and community radio, yeah.
So talking about that,
let's pause right there because we have another live artist from the United States of America to come on, Mr. Alvin Garrett. D, do you want to tell? In fact, he's here. I think we should just bring him on. Really,
but the thing is,
can we bring Alvin Garrett producers? Can we bring him on stage, please? Thank you very much.
What's up?
Good evening, Alvin. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. How you doing?
We're fine over here. Thank you for taking the time out to come on the platform this evening. We're talking everything new school, everything neo soul, but you're an old school. You've been grounded in the old school. Can you tell our listeners just a bit about you in terms of your background and the artists that you've worked with along the way?
Oh yeah, I'm from the United States of America. It's good to be here. Thank you, guys. I'm raised in the South, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Live in Birmingham. Grew up in the church, listening to gospel music, R&B, soul music, and started off playing bass guitar. And that soul music just got into me, man. And although I'm still relatively young, I call myself an old soul. And so coming from church and loving R&B, jazz, punk, I sort of blended it all together for what I call inspirational soul. Because a lot of my music is sort of inspirational, but it's not religious. So I was listening to your conversation, which has been very inspiring to listen to you guys about the different types of soul. So this is what I like to call my inspirational soul. So
okay, so what kind of artists have you worked in over your career?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so being a Grammy-nominated songwriter, might as well throw that out there. I've worked with artists.
Grammy-nominated.
Yeah. My bad, I forgot to throw that out there. You know,
you did.
I worked with artists like Joe, Kelly Rowland, Fantasia. You guys may have heard a guy named Noel Bourdin.
Legend.
Gospel artists as well over here in the States. So I've been around a little while.
Whoa, cool. So what made you go start doing your journey into being a solo artist?
Well, you know, man, honestly, just doing so much writing for everybody else. My dad, who's my pastor, you know, one of my best friends, if not my best friend, he just told me, hey, why don't you listen to your own music and consider putting it out yourself? He said, nobody can sing your songs the way you do. So he just encouraged me to stop giving all the songs away and just keep some for myself. And so in doing that, I found my own voice over the years, and I'm excited to be promoting my own music.
So you've got 2 songs for us today. Do you want to tell us what the first track is that you've got coming up?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I just want you to hang with me. You know, when I was talking about these charts over there, it sounds like Hang With Me is kind of hanging around. So if it's all right, I'll give you a little bit of it. That's cool?
Cool. There you go.
Yeah. Does that sound good? Yeah.
We can hear that.
Cool. What's your name? What's your sign? What you doing later on? It's okay if you're shy. Am I coming on a little too strong? So all my friends call me Al, and I like to have fun. Yes, I do. But I'm all grown up, and we can have a deep conversation. You wanna hesitate? Oh yeah. It's getting kind of late. Oh, for me to take you on a date. Hey, oh God, it's only 5 o'clock in the evening. The look on your face, oh yeah, it's like you're having a debate. Hey, but you really wanna stay. Hey, but you thinking you should be leaving. So I asked, where you gotta go? What you need to know? Maybe you should hang with me. Maybe you should hang with me for a while. Where you gotta go? Oh, where you gotta go? Please don't tell me no. Oh, maybe you should hang with me. Maybe you should hang with me for a while. You got a guy, you ain't gotta have a drink. You gotta have a drink. Oh, so I was born with a smile, and I don't mind saying what I think. I believe in respect. Yes, I do. I won't believe in the check. Not when you. So I don't mind when we're down if I get a little time in exchange. So you wanna hesitate? Oh, hesitate. It's getting kind of late. For me to take you on a date. Hey, oh God, it's only 5 o'clock in the evening. Look on your face, it's like you're having a debate. Hey, but you really wanna stay. So you're thinking you should be leaving. So I asked, where you gotta go? Oh, what you need to know? Where y'all at? Maybe you should hang with me. Maybe you should hang with me for a while. Where you gotta go? Oh, come on. Please don't tell me no. Come on. Maybe you should hang with me. Maybe you should hang with me for a while. Don't let this moment pass by. Cause we may never again. Don't let this moment pass us by. You should give us a try tonight. Where you gotta go? Girl, where you gotta go? Oh, girl, come on. Oh, maybe you can. Oh, please don't tell me no. All you gotta do is come on, girl. Yeah. Listen, I say, tell me where you gotta go. I'm thinking maybe. I'm thinking maybe. Oh, where you gotta go? Where you gotta go? Oh, maybe you should hang. Maybe you should hang. Maybe you should hang with me for a while. Yeah. How you feel about that? How you feel about that?
Wow. Professional.
Real soulful voice going on there, bro.
There's a time where people used to say, "Oh, they don't make music like they used to back in the day." But Alvin Garrett, beautiful voice, beautiful soul. Your music is amazing.
So the comments were popping off big time.
So what are some of the comments in there?
I appreciate that. I'll try.
Sorry, Reggie, what are some of the comments in there?
I appreciate all the comments. That song is from my latest album.
Pamela Allen just clapping. Alison Walcott clapping. Prina clapping.
Oh yeah.
Bayesian Nine. Now that would go down great. Sounding beautiful. Alvin Garrett. Also, you got everybody just loving it. Like there's just emojis, fire emojis everywhere. Flow Radio saying he sounded good after last week's Blackout Performance Awards. There's lots of people just really putting in some great positive comments about it. You definitely put your stank on it. I'm taking that one from Angie Stone. She says,
So, Alvin, you have another track for us this evening as well?
Man, I appreciate all the love. Absolutely. This is the title song from my latest EP called The Lightness of Love. And so, man, I want to personally thank Kejam for connecting with me and just making sure that so many people in the UK heard this music. And so I'm grateful and I appreciate the opportunity to share. So let's see if y'all are down for the lightness of love. You know what I mean? Don't let this heavy world get you down. Just dive into the love. Y'all ready? Wherever you are, clap your hands. Love. Say it's love. See, every time I see your face, something about you takes me away. Your glow, your shine, your everyday vibe, relaxing like we're in an oasis. Ooh, there's no fuss, no fight, no wrong. It's alright when I'm with you, girl. It feels like paradise. It's that look in your eyes lets me know. See, girl, I know that it's love. It's the light of the light, so delightful. Hope y'all feeling that. It takes me away. It's the light, so delightful. It's the lightness of love. Some call it cloud nine, but I prefer to call it your presence. Some say they falling in, but there's no tripping when you're in heaven. There's no fight, when I'm with you, girl. Oh, it's that look. Oh, say, girl, I know that it's love. Oh, yeah. It takes me away. So delightful. Love. It's the lightness of love. I see the light. So delightful. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It takes me away. It's so delightful. It's the light. It's the lightness of love. Y'all say this real quickly. La la la. La la la. It's love. That's easy. Y'all sing it with me. I'm gonna say it one time. La la la. La la la. Say, it's love. Ooh. Whoa. It's the light. So delightful. Oh, love takes me away. Ooh, ooh, girl. In your fight, no wrong is alright. Yeah. Oh, love takes me away. Oh, it's the lightness of love. It's the lightness of love.
Wow. That is that is a jam right there.
Thank you.
100.
Is that?
Thank you.
I know sometimes songwriters hoard their songs. Is that a recent production, or is that a song that's been sitting there and you haven't been able to like get it out until this year?
Now that's fresh. That's fresh, man. Right before the new year, I did this EP, about 7 songs. Matter of fact, I recorded 4 songs in 1 week. So this is all fresh, is what I was feeling. I wanted to sort of lighten the mood a little bit, kind of grab some of that traditional groove, that traditional R&B, man, because there's so much heaviness going on in the world. I figured, why not take it back? Why not bring some lightness to the world with this music? So that's fresh off the press.
Fresh off the I absolutely love that tune. Wicked tune. So if people want to get hold of your tune and get in contact with you, where can they hit? Where can they? Have you got a Facebook page? Have you got a band page? Is there any other social media that like you're on that people can connect with you, like Instagram or Twitter? Yeah.
Absolutely. Go to the Alvin Garrett. That's Twitter. That's Facebook and Instagram. The Alvin Garrett. But you can always go to alvingarrett.com, and I have about 4 albums, 4 EPs that are streaming on all of your streaming platforms for downloads as well. So go check me out, alvingarrett.com, or on social media, the Alvin Garrett. So it's always an honor to share my music with you all. So I appreciate the time. And
have you got anything in the pipeline to come to the UK and perform? Anything there? Anything bubbling?
I'm just waiting for them to get these flights rolling, because I'm coming straight there. As soon as you guys invite me, I will be there, ready to sing for all the people that I've met and all the people that are listening to my new music. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Alvin Garrett, thank you for coming on Set the Trend podcast. Hopefully we'll connect again very soon. Thanks a lot. Bless. Wow. Hey, I like that jam though. That jam was fat. Proper.
And before EastEnders says anything, I think Kejam's got the contract.
You're a bit late on that one, Reg. Me and Kejam spoke already.
Oh, okay. I suppose we've got one more artist to come. We've got a few more things to cover before we go to the loveliness. When we talk about independent, who should I go to? I'll go to D on this one. Artists, should they sell their music on their own platform, or should they put it out as widely as possible?
Be careful how you answer this question, because it's caused a lot of
controversy this week.
Conversations over the last 10 days or so. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
I personally think.
Oh, good.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Good. Yes,
hear me?
yes, we can. Yep.
Yep. I personally think it's up to the artist. It's I have a lot of artists who come to me, and we work out a plan. If you don't, a lot of artists spend a lot of money in the studio. They spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money in the studio, but they never come with a budget for marketing and promotion. And so the answer to this question is it all depends on the strategy that you're going to use. Because if we are truthful and we look across the UK, if it's the UK only, artists is not, I don't care what anyone says, because I've been there, I've done this, you're not going to recoup your money. If you come thinking that you're going to come to the UK, tons and tons of money, you're not. UK has never been that. UK has, for you to, it's been a promotional base where you build a platform and then you get licensing deals in Japan, you go back to America with it. So it's what the artist, it's what artist thinks they want from it. Sometimes with the artist, it's not really about money. So it's not, sometimes it's not really about money. It's what the artist actually wants from it. But I will answer your question. I will answer your question. If that was me doing it, I would have it on my own website. First of all, I would have that music on my own website, because at the end of the day is, I know the costs. There isn't a figure that I don't know. By starting off selling it for my own websites and having a strategy, and also it's not just about, Godfrey will probably say something about this, it's not just music, it's about what you have with it, package with it, merchandising, other things. You're not going to, in this climate,
the conversation is,
I would just quote quickly. Yeah.
Go on, quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, the conversation is, should you or not have it on your website? Myself personally on my own site. Secondly, yes, in the future you could look at all the other streamings for additional money, but that is not what's going to make you money. I will tell you now that I've done the figures. The truth, let me just tell you the figures, right? The truth is that you can go to Europe, you can go to Japan, and net sales, you're not going to make more than £5,000. That's it. So don't let nobody fool you that there's a lot of money to be made. I know these figures. I'm telling you all that net sales is £5,000.
Yeah, but can I just say?
Hold on. Let's just put these figures into perspective first. Yeah. So we're saying, we're saying that the 5,000 that someone would make just in Europe and Asia, if they was on iTunes and
Japan,
they put their stuff on
Japan, yep.
Okay, so if they put their stuff on iTunes, they put their stuff on Amazon, they put their stuff on any other platform.
No, I didn't say that. That's everything.
I'm asking.
That's final.
Yeah. No, but what I'm asking just to get the difference. But what I'm asking just to get the difference is that if they put it on iTunes and they'd make less money because of the fact that iTunes or Amazon would take a bigger share of the money to promote them. Fine, that's what we're to get to, so people can see the two. Just want to say a big shout out to
you're talking.
Yeah, so hold it there. Hold it there, Deez, because I want to get some of the other panelists in at this time. Big shout out.
To be honest, we want to get the artists. I think we should discuss this after we hear the performance from Ness.
Okay, but can we hold on?
Properly go into it.
We will do, but I just need to get this point over, and I'm cheering. So, Kim Tavares is in the building. Big up yourself. Godfrey, can you just give me a short answer to that question, please?
Me personally, the artists I work with, it's always their website,
and that works
better for them because basically they can control it. It's because you got to understand the music industry is 90% business, and 10% music.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get everybody to come to you, because basically if you're always going to be giving it away. You're giving away music every time you put it on these streaming sites or whatever. It's kind of like, or giving it away to the DJs and all them kind of things. You're losing money, if you know what I mean. So I would always mainly from the younger artists, everything leads back to their websites or their blogs, or they don't even put out the song, they put the video out before the song, if you know what I mean. So it's all about engagement. It's all about getting people to get to know you. I think that's where it's changed. Like I says, the format's changed. So
how much exposure do you get? I do believe, well, the argument, it's not my argument, but the argument was that advertising on other platforms, you get a wider audience, so you end up selling more units, and it's better to enter into the charts.
Can we put that
on your website
now? Can I just say this? It all depends on who's saying it. Okay, because
exactly,
a lot of people out there they don't think about the artist first. They think about themselves first. It's about it's their reputation. I always say you've got to move with the times. A lot of people out there who say, "Oh, put it on iTunes and all them," they haven't moved with the time, because it makes it easier for them to sell. Because they got the agenda to say, "All right, I want it in my chart," if you understand. But the artist has got the last say. And what the trouble is out there, we haven't got a middleman or middle network so they can advise us where to put their music out. So when they do it, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Godfrey, for that. Let me just ask Taxman, because we're going to go into his artists next as well as. So before he gives us a bit about his artist coming on, or an artist that he's championing, Taxman, is your feelings pretty much the same as Godfrey and D on that one?
About whether it's on the website or whether it should be. Right, so a couple of things very quickly. An artist brings out a tune, goes on to Spotify, gets 1,000 streams, they get 99 pence. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, artist brings out a tune, puts the album or the song on their website, they get 100% of the money. These are people who are working just like you and I. They're not solely artists, they're independent. They've got no backing, they're investing their own money into their own music to some kind of pleasure. Why shouldn't they earn some money from their endeavors? So really, I think they should be allowed to do what they want. The artists are not, their sole intention when they make a song or an album, an EP, is not to get into the Breaking Artists chart. It's to get their music heard.
Okay.
It's not to get into the Global Soul chart. It's not to get into the Soul Influencers chart. It's to get their music heard. So why shouldn't they get paid for it? If they don't get paid for it, and they lose money every time they produce something, why on earth would they do? Why would they continue?
Thank you, Taxman. And on that, let's just pause. Let's just pause there. Big up Tanqueray Howard, another US, UK award-winning artist in the building. Good evening to you.
Hi, Kim Tavares as well.
No.
Taxman, we have your. Can we have an artist that you are championing, and we'd like to bring her to the stage? Nez, I know Nez has been in there waiting for a bit. Can we bring her to the stage, please? Hey, Nez. How are you? Good evening, and welcome to Set the Trend podcast.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow.
Thank you for taking time out to come on there. I hope you've been interested in the conversation that we've been having around about.
Oh my God, y'all are killing it.
So Nez, you've got a pretty. You're a new school, but you're an old school artist at the same time. You've got a very great track record. Do you want to tell us about the kind of artists that you've been working with before, and how long you've been into this? business
Sure.
before you stepped out into the spotlight?
I've been a writer since, oh God, maybe like the last 20 years. And I was lucky enough, I was discovered, if you want to use the word discovered, by the Force MDs. I don't know if you guys remember the Force MDs.
Yes.
Yeah, so they asked me to come and get on an album with them as a rap artist, not not a singer. So I went there and I was asked if I wrote regular R&B songs, and I said no. And someone gave me a format, said we need 8 bars of this, 8 bars of that, a bridge. This is how a bridge goes. Here's a track. Come back the next day. And when I came back the next day with a full song the next day, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis called us in saying that Rajane wanted the song. So my first song written went on Rajane, and I've been writing ever since.
Who are some of the people that you've been writing for, Nez?
I've written for Johnny Gill. I've written for Ann Nesby, Salt and Pepper. So I'm assuming because I came in as hip hop, I'm a little different in how I hear music and how I my approach to writing it. But and of course I've worked with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and several other producers and the Force MDs, and so I'm just so grateful to have had the opportunities that I've had.
Good. You know, when a lady says that she's worked with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know she's extra special.
I'm trying to be.
Reggie, intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage an amazing lady, the wonderful Nez.
If I can get these headphones on my big hair. How'd I look?
It looks lovely.
Take it away. Oh, hold on.
I can't hear.
Music. Oh, there we go.
Can you guys hear?
We can hear.
I can't hear. I'm going to try to wing it. I wake up in the morning, hair's a hot mess, yeah, feeling kind of lazy, don't wanna get dressed, my attitude's on a whole nother level, borderline classy, somewhat ghetto, but you love me, yeah, you love me, yeah, oh, I know I drive you crazy, yeah. But you love me anyway. Let me be known, you can't change me. Love me anyway. Yeah. I give it straight, no chaser. Big mouth on the run. I'm not the one you don't want. Do what I want, you can't hold me. It's nothing but love. If you know me, I'm hard to handle, but I'm worth it. Yeah. You earned it. Ooh, always be yours. Don't try to change me. I'm crazy, but love me anyway, yeah. Love me anyway, oh, can't change me. I love the way you love me. Hey, I'm complicated, but you love how I keep it real. Never have to pretend with you. I could be how I feel. And despite everything people might say, take me as I am and love me anyway, baby, yeah. Oh, yeah. Love me anyway, yeah. Love me anyway, oh. Can't change me. I love the way you love me, yeah. But you love me anyway, yeah, yeah. Love you, girl. You can't change me. You can't change me. Yeah. Love me anyway.
Amazing.
Thank you.
What a voice.
Thank you.
Man, we're just getting so many great voices here on Set the Trend, from Tanqueray Way to
Oh my gosh, I
yourself
love
to Kim
her.
Tavares. Wow.
She's amazing. Tanqueray, love her.
What are some of them saying in the chat room, Reg?
In the chat room, there was a lot of love, lots of fire emojis. Karen Scarlett saying lovely vocals. Beverly Gage, that was beautiful. Makeda just clapping her hands. Also, the amazing Pamela Allen saying you guys are surely spoiling us tonight as well. So big up to everybody who's been in there, just giving lots and lots of love on Facebook and also via YouTube as well.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much, everyone.
But it's not finished there, Nez, because you've got another track for us tonight, haven't you?
I do.
So what's this track about now?
It's the opposite of Love Me Anyway. This song is everything that I write.
So if it's not loving you in it, is it get on your bike? Is that what it is?
Yeah, basically, it's
It's over.
I always write the truth. It's going to be true. It has happened. It's not recent though, but it was an experience, and it's the opposite of, well, basically, if you don't love me anyway, then go love whatever you loving over there somewhere.
Oh my days! I want to hear it.
I know. I feel so bad. Anyway, but yeah, this song is not even due to be released. I just finished writing it probably a couple of days ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
if the mix is
Exclusive.
not perfect, please forgive me. It's I literally said, get it done so I can do it for the UK, because the UK has just been so amazing with the support of the UK created this artist, believe it or not. The song the Love Me Anyway came out, and it was not supposed to be big like that. I was trying to put it on someone else. So
But it's stuck on you, which is good.
Rajane forced it. Rajane made it. She said no, and she vetoed, as she would say, she vetoed any thought process that the rest of us had, and I'm grateful for it, because Shorewell, who's a Grammy Award-winning 6 times Grammy Award-winning producer, did the music, and he passed away in December. So it's more special to me than anything. But the reason it slowed down the project, because we had to kind of pivot. So that's sort of what happened.
Okay, Ned. So do you want to take it away?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And guys, just check me on the sound with this.
It's fine.
Are we good? Shout out to Wilford Freelix on the guitar. Every day at 7, you leave home and don't know how to act. You be with that other woman, thinking that she can ride you behind my back. Yeah, you got the game fucked up. If you think I'm the type to let this slide, Don't try to explain, cause you know you gon' do it again if I let you stay.
Tell that chick to come and get ya. You just lost the one. I got mine finished with ya. Leave the keys undone. She better come and get ya. Ain't no coming back. I got mine finished with ya. Boy, I'm done.
I'm so tired. Said I'm tired of your lies and the secrets that you're hiding. Not gonna take it from you anymore.
You can't keep your excuses. You should already be at the door. You call her up any other time. Now's no different than before. Tell that chick to come and get you. Just lost the one. I got mine finished with ya. Leave the keys undone. She better come and get ya. Ain't no coming back. I got mine finished with ya. Boy, I'm done with your lies and the way you backsliding. Boy, I'm so over it. I don't know why you do what you do, but I'm through. I'm so over it. There's always someone who will pick up where you left off. It was nice while it lasted. Now you can pack it up, and while you're at it, tell that chick, come get ya. You just lost the one. I got mine finished with
You
ya.
don't belong
Leave
to
the
me.
keys
No, not anymore.
undone. She better come and get ya.
Tell me that
Ain't
you're
no
close, so waiting at the door.
I got mine finished with ya. Boy, I'm done. Tell that chick to come and get ya. I don't want you no more. I don't want you no more. I got mine finished with ya. Leave the keys undone. She better come and get ya. I don't want you no more. I don't want you no more. I got mine finished with ya. Boy, I'm done.
Don't want you no more. Tell that chick to come and get ya.
Done.
Lord God. Lyrics. Lyrics. Tell him, girl. Tell him.
That sounds like a female anthem, yeah.
She was up in her feelings and on that tune. You know that, right?
Tell him it's done. Come and get the keys. It's done.
Oh my days.
I hope the sound was okay. I apologize ahead of time. I promise the EP won't sound like that.
That's all right. Don't worry. Sounded great.
If people want to connect with you, they want to buy your single, your albums, how can they support you? What networks can they get hold of you on?
So the EP isn't out yet, but I'm Done will drop on I think May 31st. We're pushing for May 31st, but I'm officially Ness. I am OFF, officially Ness. I'm officially Ness on everything. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I'm officially Ness.
Good. So that's how people support you. That's great. And have you got any plans to come to the UK soon?
I have a friend that lives in the UK, and I told her, I said, if Love Me Anyway does anything, I'm gonna have to come to the UK. And sure enough, it said poof, and I was like, oh no, now I gotta come to the UK. So absolutely.
Good stuff. Nez, I'm sorry we haven't got much time to talk to you a bit longer. Hopefully you might come on another juncture when your EP's coming out or your album's coming out, your full album. And
absolutely.
Yes, Nez, thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Another Set the Trend
exclusive in the building.
Yeah, indeed.
Right. So we're kind of out of time, lads. Before I go, I want to leave the last words to
hold on, can I just mention something?
Of course you can.
Because obviously, it's definitely you guys that have a lot more information and knowledge about the independent scene. But what I wanted to address was, how can the independent soul scene follow in the footsteps of, for instance, grime, drill. A lot of those guys managed to mobilize and come together to create some kind of movement, which then transpired into them receiving a lot of mainstream success and making their movement quite big. You could also say that for the future soul scene as well here in the UK, with the UK R&B acts like Bella and the likes of Tiana Major 9 and people like that. What do you think is the solution, or how can you get to that stage where Radio 2 are playing independent soul, Radio 1 are playing independent soul, and also these various other radio stations as well? How do you envisage yourself getting to that stage, or do you think it's not possible?
Do you want to go first, Godfrey?
Well, for me, it's about your story. And a lot of the artists, where the grime artists and all the R&B artists, all they work together. They work together, and the thing about it, they tell their stories, but they tell it in a way that it's more educational. It's about who they are, what they're gonna do, and what they're gonna change. Because if you don't change nothing in the industry, it would just still be the same. And I think what we find now, the format's changed as how you put out music and how you get music across. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is we ain't got that network, that infrastructure between the DJs and the artists. Because the artists I work with, they've had enough. They've had enough. That's why some of them don't put out music, because they've had enough, because there's no kind of like infrastructure. There's no infrastructure to find the information. Because what we should have is, because like I said, I work with the mainstream as well, so I get all the information from the mainstream. So I find that a lot of the stuff where I go into Zoom calls and all that, and I'm into like all the sessions and all them. So I find out what's really happening, how things are changing now. And because DJs now are not just DJs, the producers, they're putting out albums. See the difference. The DJs are no longer just a man who spins the records. The DJ is more puts out an album. He collects like all the artists and puts out. It's like me. I do projects. So I've got a project coming out. If you know what I mean, where I've got a couple of artists, but I'm featuring them. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. So what you're saying is basically, is that a lot of the DJs now, when we had the mixtape era where you had DJs putting out their own mixtapes, releasing them, they should be doing the same thing now. Taxman, do you agree with that? Is that something that can help to boost the independent soul scene and get it into the eyes of so-called Middle England?
It can. There's some people doing it already. But let me just take a step back. I remember when Breaking Artists used to do the Independent Grooves series, kind of got a bit of backlash because the tracks that people heard on the radio that they didn't know the titles of were being on these sessions, and the DJs that were playing the tunes didn't like it because they were getting the names out there. But there are other compilations like Dean Undercover, for example. He's got his Soul Independence compilations. There's some more coming. So it's probably the way forward to get the names out there, to the other DJs, to the public, so that people can hear the music. If they like it, buy it. If they don't like it, ignore it. But it's a tricky job.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to address is how can we force the issue where we're in the position where we're able to have a Radio 1 show or a Majek FM show specialized in playing independent soul music. How can we get to the position where you turn on your TV here in the UK and hear an independent soul record synced as an advert? How can we get into the position where you are getting people merchandise endorsed with independent soul artists and kids down the street wearing a Kim Tavares or a Nez t-shirt or one of these type of artists?
First of all, people got to buy the music. You've got to start buying music. These artists are not making a lot of money. If they don't get anything from their product, how can they continue? So that's the first thing. Social media is doing quite a good job there. We had the Blackout Awards last week that brought lots of different independent artists to the forefront, to people that maybe wouldn't listen to that kind of music before. We've all got to do our little bit, and lots of the DJs, like we've got the Neo and independent soul shootout, they're doing their bit for trying to promote independent artists. There's certain radio stations that are playing more independent music. So we've all got to do our part.
Can I say something there? Okay.
Last word to you. Godfrey.
It's like we've got to form a network. We all got to work together, and we've got to bring it back to our culture, because it's kind of like, I was listening to Isaac Hayes' son, and he was saying, look, without the industry, black artists or black music does not need the music industry. They need us. So we have to set up our networks together and work together, because we don't work. A lot of us don't work together. We work all individually, but we need something to tie it together. Like we all sit down and we represent. Like I represent Neo Soul. Okay. Taxman represents his chart show. Everybody's doing different things, but we're not connecting it together. You know what I mean? You've got Blackout Wars. We need to support them more. We need to support. Everybody's not supporting. Everybody's doing their own thing. And if we all come together, and the leading people of that like say a radio station, we all come together and we all sit down and talk. We all support. And sometimes we can say, this month, this album, we're supporting all of us across the board. You know what I mean? Because everybody picks and chooses what albums they want to play, and then who gets it first and who don't get it first, and all. So
what you're trying to say is American.
No, we're gonna have to stop right there. Okay. Thank you very much. It's been a riveting conversation. No, thank you. It's been a riveting conversation. I learned some new stuff today again. Thank you a lot. I mean, first time that I've met Godfrey, so I'm making that connection to today. I'll keep on connecting up with Taxman and D. But on behalf of Set the Trend, thank you for coming on and talking everything Neo and New Soul and explaining it and breaking it down to us. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming on too.
Thanks, Taxman.
Big up, Tax. And we'll definitely link up soon. We'll definitely link up and we will keep in touch. Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you. You know what? No, they're talking a lot of good. They're talking a lot of stuff. They're talking a lot of
stuff. We just didn't get to talk enough about it.
No, we didn't. But the thing is that even the last bit that they've just left us on in terms of the networking, 110%, 110%. The networking has to get better and tighter with the industry if we want to take it anywhere. And that's so true. EastEnder, we cannot hear you. I mean, you went for your toilet break, and I don't know what you did.
Was that Godfrey who said that?
Yeah, it was both of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was very strong and very powerful, and it's something that we say. You know, that's what Set the Trend is here for. It's a platform to unite everyone, and to yes, we're documenting the success of the stories of the street sounds, but we all link up and we try to move it forward so we can make the whole thing bigger. And that's what, we're starting to do. And it's nice to hear that other people are saying the same thing.
Same thing too. So many thanks to our guests on the show today: Kejam, D Majek from Soul Discoveries, DJ Taxman from the Breaking Artists show, and Godfrey Fletcher from CEO of Neo to Soul. And let's not forget some of the artists that was on the show tonight. Nez performing live, Alvin Garrett performing live, and there was what was the young lady at the beginning?
Anime Rose.
Yeah, that's right. We had a pre-record from her, but I think you should go and cop her song because she's great as well. 3 great artists for you doing their thing. Go out and support them. They gave you their social addresses. Go out and support them and follow them and buy their music wherever they put it.
Especially on their website.
Especially if it's on their website. That's 100% profit for them. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I had an opposing view about that, but that's for another day.
That's for another day now. So what are you doing this week, Reg?
Right. This week I am broadcasting. Tomorrow I am going to be out in the park. Not going to say which one, but I'm going to be out in the park, sitting down and having a nice bit of prosecco and some.
You're not doing a fan calling more,
you know what? The
no doggy business. No.
You know what? The fans come and see you. Yeah.
No doggy business. Obviously the radio show as per usual. So thank you once again to everybody who listens in and does that stuff. And yeah,
he's gone for another toilet break.
Hold on, did he just say something and just run?
He just went, mate. I think the money ran out.
But yeah, no, that's it. Obviously, I'm going to be listening to the Breakfast Blues. Sorry, Ray, but I'm going to be tuning out for a little bit to pay some respects to the Cherry Gross and watch the memorial, which is, I think, it's a fantastic thing, which is going up in Brixton. 100%. Obviously, I drunkenly walked past Windrush Square on many occasions, leaving Satay Bar and Market House. So, you know, it would be great to watch and see exactly what they've managed to construct and put together in Cherry's memory. And also, Windrush Square is just a great place.
Miss Cherry Gross's memory.
Sorry, Miss Cherry Gross. Sorry.
Right.
Apologies. And funny enough, do you know the night that kicked off? I used to be in the Army Cadets, and the night that kicked off, we were coming back from we were on our way, to camp, and we had to drive through one part of Brixton when it all kicked off, and we were wondering what was happening. And it was only when we got down to camp that we understood that it was due to that reason because of Lee Lawrence's mum, and that's it. So I didn't realize that at the time.
I thought he was about to say that they called on you as Army cadet. Yeah, get out.
No. I do remember the occasion, and I do remember people rioting. Uprising. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so me tomorrow, Breakfast Blues on at 9 p.m. tomorrow. I will be calling on some people. It's usually the Caribbean Weekender that's on this weekend. So I'll be paying my respects to that. And obviously Mikey RMP passed away earlier this year, the governor of that. So I'll be paying some respect to that tomorrow morning with some guests on the show. What else am I doing?
EastEnders on Tuesday.
EastEnders doing his Tuesday. He ain't coming back on it. I think he's gone toilet break.
Yeah.
He must be doing number 2, as they say.
No, don't be so harsh on him. Don't be harsh. I think he's curfew.
He went, I can take the mic because
he's on curfew tonight. Maybe he's on curfew tonight.
He's on maybe so. And that's it. And you'll see me back here next week at some point. Saturday and Sunday. Set the Trend podcast on YouTube, on Facebook. Yeah. Like us on Facebook and also go to our YouTube page and follow us. We're trying to get up our subscribers on there.
Next week we've got Jerry Bascom.
And next week, let's get up. We're not asking what you'll do next week because that's too late now. Can we get up the flyer for the promo for next week, please, gentlemen? Our producers in the background.
Yeah. And can I just say exclusively, the special performer is going to be Terry Walker.
Woo, 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 woo.
UK
Terry Walker, the amazing Terry Walker,
ching, ching.
Live artist, one of UK's favorite, and Jerry Bascom, one of our favorites as well. We'll be listening and seeing what he's got to say. Well, say and tell us about his journey and what he will also be doing when he comes out of this as well. But he's got a long journey, fantastic history in the game, especially supporting the street sounds as well. So we'll be talking to him. Jerry Bascom, needaplacetogo.co.uk, and also the Soul of London Radio. We'll be talking to him next week, so make sure you tune in. Right.
Don't you think he's taking your Duke status? I'd love to know what the people think. If you look better as the Duke or Jerry looks better as the Duke from the ladies in the chat.
You're always trying to pitch light-skinned brothers against each other. Why do you guys do it? Why do you guys do it?
Did I say anything about colour?
Why do you guys do it? Why
did I say anything about colour?
Yeah, why do you want to do that?
Didn't.
I see through you.
You call yourself Vibes the Duke. Jerry looks like Vibes the Duke.
But he doesn't call himself Vibes the Duke. So now you're narrating a story on behalf of him.
Save that survey for next week.
Oh, my people. It's been great having you here. He's sending us back from his second toilet break, and he's just arrived just arrived enough time to say
goodbye.
Say goodbye. We'll see you next week, Saturday. Remember, you can rewatch the show on our YouTube channel, Set the Trend Podcast. Go subscribe and like. It's been great having you. Fantastic to our guests. It's another one in the bag, lads. We'll see you next week, Saturday. Peace, love.
Peace out. Yeah, definitely.